I'm Liam Knight.
My name is Toby Rudolf.
I don't know what I'm doing.
What are we doing?
We are stuck in the middle.
A Stuck in the Middle podcast. It's the shit.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
You're an idiot for not watching it.
All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Stuck in the Middle. I think we're at episode 6 here. Liam, am I right?
Yeah, you said 6, I said 8. I can't count.
You can't count
I'm
at all.
dyslexic.
On the podcast today, we have none other than Clancy from the Betoota Advocate, the mastermind behind it all. Is it safe to say?
What's your role?
Editor.
Editor of Australia's last free independent newspaper.
Yep.
Australia's favourite. The oldest.
Yep.
Yes, the oldest newspaper in Australia.
Yep.
What an honour it is for us to be able to sit here with Australian journalism royalty.
Oldest operating newspaper, yeah.
Yeah,
Still
currently
operational.
working. Yeah. Did you have any others that you sort of had to beat out along the way?
Yeah, there's a few rivals in Western Queensland along the way, but right now it's just between us and the heavyweights. Obviously, we've got the Snowy River circulation that is the Monaro Post, and we've got a couple others. We've got the Walker Watchman and Moreton Bay Daily. You'd be
Moreton
familiar.
Bay Daily. I'm
Moreton
Moreton
Bay
Bay,
Daily, and then of course the Daily Telegraph.
All satirical.
We're
all satirical.
We're all neck and neck. We're all exactly the same level. So
Quite a competitive market.
yeah. Print journalism, mate. It's not dying. Don't worry.
Not one bit.
Well, well done for coming out on top or being the favourite out there,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this ruins my career.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. Now, Clancy, I wanted to ask you just to start off, where's home for you? Where did you reside from? You seem like a bit of a country rural man.
Yeah, mate. Western Queensland.
Queensland?
Of sorts, and then southeast corner of Queensland. I am a Dolphins fan now, newly crowned.
Wow. Okay.
Fins up.
Fins up.
Yeah.
But no, I never lived that side of the river. It was more southeast Queensland. Did you live up there?
I lived there. I lived in Brisbane for 1 year, in Paddington.
In Paddington.
Yeah.
So near Suncorp, really.
Well, literally up the road from Suncorp.
Yeah.
And it was the best year of my life.
You liked it?
So for the first 3 months, I didn't like it because I was away from the beach, my family, the dog, all that
Landlocked
stuff.
city.
Landlocked city, you realise. But then after about 3 months, when I started sort of making friends, it takes you about that amount of time to make friends. And I started venturing out in the wild city of Brisbane. I started to go to and enjoy the nightlife of it, the valley and all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Eagle Street Wharf. And then I realised, hey, this city isn't too bad after all.
Yeah. It's an interesting one because you were playing sport effectively for a living, contact sport, and that's what people who move cities who aren't footballers have to do. So if you're not a footballer and you move city, the only way you're going to make mates is joining a football club. So you were ready made for that. You would have had mates just waiting to be your friend. But you move city. You guys wouldn't know this, but the common man moves city 30 years of age. Oh, I might go to Melbourne. I might go to London. Yeah. You're sitting there in your flat and you're waiting for the call up. The call up's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And you go to the pub, you make friends with a 55-year-old, make friends with a 60-year-old, or you lace the boots back up and play contact sport for the first time in 10 years.
I was going to say, I don't really like how you're saying we aren't common men. I got plenty of friends out there from Mudgee, from Orange, from all over Australia that have to do these things, and you think that I'm not across it, that I'm not the common man?
No,
Is that
I'm
what
just
you're
saying
Clancy?
you get to play footy for a living. You don't have to play it out of necessity to make friends in a new city.
Maybe that's the only reason I'm actually playing it.
That's how it all started for me, really.
You
I
just
just wanted to make friends, and then I turned out we were actually pretty good at it. You know? And then I feel like for you to separate me from society, just based on the success that I had in my chosen field.
Bit of 360 here.
Yeah, look,
so what was your team? What was your team in Alice Springs?
They sort of just there was 4 teams there.
Yeah,
it was skipped an age group every year because there's not exactly the population to support it. So there was 10s and 12s, and I think my team was the Broncos. We don't have any areas that really were affiliated. There was 4 teams: Broncos, the Rabbitohs, maybe.
I was out in Alice not long ago, and I met the rugby boys. I was just pissing up out there, but I met the rugby boys, and they were saying they were having their grand final, and they were like, "We now turn into a league team." Because they play wet season, dry season, they don't play winter. I was like, well, what's next for the boys? Like, we're a rugby league team next week.
Not exactly a pathway system. There's 4 teams in each age group or something. Everyone's doing their best.
Did you make the top 4?
We made the top 4.
I'm surprised because I feel like you playing in a team you wouldn't have been able to do that.
Yeah, we won the comp when I was my first year. I was like under 10s or something.
Playing under 18s.
And then played 12s, playing 10s and 12s because I don't know the quality back then. I was just starting out, but it wasn't exactly a lot of people.
But yeah, you guys are common men. It's not like you're living the
we
high
haven't.
life, the glitz and the glamour, the Coogee Pav, the fucking
been
NRL
there
star
before.
dream.
Never heard of it.
Is that a restaurant?
Coogee Pav.
Is that a
Wood
restaurant?
fire pizza oven in the front bar.
Yeah, it's got a couple really good restaurants in there, really well rated. Got some good.
I've never even heard of the joints. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Margaret's heard Margaret. Is that Margaret? That's Double Bay. I
No idea.
don't know, mate. It's not my
idea.
scene. Yeah.
When was the first time you bought? I'm not hijacking this, by the way.
I was
When
about
was
to
the
say
first
you were.
time you were sitting there and you thought, "Fuck it, I'm an NRL star"? When was the first time? Where was the first place you were at where you were no longer just a punter?
Yeah.
Chasing Sheila's.
Oh, probably when I came back. When I came to South,
Yeah.
I don't play one game at Manly. I was still like just a little kid, in my head. And Canberra was like a one club town. It wasn't that big there.
Mooseheads,
Came
yeah.
to South, and then you start seeing all the cameras rock up. Big club at South, so
Yeah.
big cameras coming in. I'm like, what are the cameras doing here? We never had that at Canberra. And then you're going out, and people know your name. I was like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah, right.
So midway through the year, I was going all right that year. My first sort of breakout year. I sort of like, I'm actually going all right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably got a bit knocked on my head a little bit, but that's when people were saying my name and the cameras were always around.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just like, this isn't too bad.
I'm king. Nothing can ruin this.
I'm me. This is it.
There's no way
No
that
way
I can.
I'm coming down from this mountain.
There's nothing
Looking
I
down.
can
Like,
do
what are you
that will
doing
rip-
down there? No,
The
mate.
trajectory is up
Yeah,
and up.
just nothing to take me down,
I'm different to Liam. Unlike him, I didn't have one of those moments where I realised I was an NRL star because I'm a fuckwit. But I do
Don't
remember.
play along. Yeah,
It
you're
was,
pretty
it
fun.
was the moment
You're a
you
fun
got.
guy, man.
I am super fun.
It
Yeah.
was the moment you got reprimanded by the NRL. Was that the moment you're like, "Oh, maybe I am a big deal"?
Yeah.
I'd love to tell a story about reprimanding with Toby, actually.
Go on then.
The Coogee night that night.
I didn't do anything wrong.
When we were in Coogee Bay. Maybe
Coogee
that's
Bay,
when-
Coogee Bay.
Coogee Bay, yeah. When maybe Toby just thought he was still an average punter.
Yeah.
That didn't no one recognise his face.
This is before I played first grade.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
doesn't really suit my narrative. We'll say my story sounds better than yours.
I just played first grade.
Yeah,
and
so
then-
you did. So
Yeah,
you're lying.
yeah, yeah.
You're lying, and now we got proof.
Yeah.
You got no integrity.
No, I
We,
put it up by the cops, didn't we?
Yeah, well, I tried to get in. Just a
Help me out.
harmless night for me. I was just, I'm a good
Just
boy.
like trying to get into the place.
So I got in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got in.
Textbook trouble.
I got in. I had a few. I was surprised to get in, but nonetheless, I walked through and I turned around to find my mate wasn't by my side anymore. I walked back outside to see what the commotion was. Toby had some new friends around him in blue, 3 or 4 police officers giving him a hard time. I sort of walked over I was pretty out of it myself. Just wanted to know what was going on, and then I started getting shoved by an undercover cop. Next minute, Toby's getting put in the back of a paddy wagon, scream. I'm not saying we're not talking. I'm not being. What have I done wrong?
Yeah, this isn't
What
fair.
have I done
yeah.
wrong? This is not fair.
Well, they target the Maroubra kids. That's all I've
They
been led to
do.
believe.
They do. You know what happened after that? Because this is probably the first time I was innocent, in a drunken altercation. I was saying I've been in trouble before. I'm not ever really innocent. I'll put my hand up and admit that.
But
this
I actually
time,
was.
this time I was honestly felt like I had done nothing wrong. But the police had called the club. They called Rabbitohs the next day and said, "Hey mate, we kicked one of your players out, drunk and disorderly, this and that." We've kicked him out before, and at this stage, I was fresh to Sydney.
Yeah,
I
right.
hadn't even gone out. I've been there once on a date, left obviously on a date, and I didn't even get kicked out. I walked myself out. Then I saw the altercation, so they made up a story to try and get me in more trouble because I was giving him a bit. After I realised this guy was just pushing me and trying to get me to react, I was being a bit of a smart ass.
Yeah, right.
And then got a bit of I got a ban, but they called the club and made up a story to try and get me in more trouble.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
lucky Wayne Bennett was there. I'm like Wayne, I promise you. And he trusted me.
And he's an old
is what
copper,
happened.
yeah,
And he
yeah.
goes, mate, that's a joke. All right, you're all good.
Yeah, right.
But
Because
and
he
I was
has the
like-
police intuition, right? Because he was
He's an
a
old
copper,
cop, but he knows how it works with football players and that kind of.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was still fresh to the club, so I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know, well, how did this even come about?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on?
Did you not? This is a quote I remember from that incident. Get your little pig hands off me.
No. That's not what I said.
Are you sure?
No. Okay, because he kept
Because they'd
pushing me.
remember that.
He kept pushing me. He kept pushing me. He goes,
Yeah.
I'm an undercover cop. I go, get your filthy paws off me. I don't care who you are or what you are. I don't know. I don't need to be touched by you. I've done nothing wrong.
I'm
So
pretty sure
then-
you said get your put your paws off me, you dirty pig. Oink oink.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
And
That's
then
it.
you
Being
followed it with,
facetious.
"Do you know who I am?"
Yeah.
And then you
And
followed
then I
it.
got up a Google, and then I Googled myself, and then I said, see, this is me.
And then you
Yeah.
said you followed it with, "You've just made a very powerful enemy."
I know these people. Yeah, you guys have. You guys must have been there. I don't know. Like you guys remember better than I do. So I'm glad that
Well,
we
he
had
couldn't
that.
see. He was in the paddy
I'm
wagon.
glad, yeah, he was
Paddy
back
wagon.
at the paddy wagon. So obviously everything he says is a lie, but you must have recalled it perfectly, word for word. So
Oh,
I'm
mate,
glad
that's-
that you were there to be able to recall the
Spent
event.
enough time chasing ambulances. You know how these things go. So what was your moment though?
Well, I had a little one. I remember I was.
You were a micro celebrity at Redcliffe.
I was a micro celebrity at Redcliffe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember once at Redcliffe, I was going to the BWS in Paddington, and someone goes, "Oh, you're the number 11 for the Dolphins."
Yeah.
If you go to like New South Wales Cup, no one gives a flying fuck about you. No one even knows who you are. People recognise me in Brisbane.
Yeah,
So
they're watching all that because they watch it on telly too, don't they?
they do. It's a big thing over there.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
every sort of team has a big fan base. Playing
Yeah.
Q Cup's so much fun. God, it's a
Yeah.
good time. But no, I think mine was either when I was reprimanded by the NRL for the 1,000 beers comment. That was when I was like, oh, maybe I can't say what I want all the time.
I feel like you're back
It
at
wasn't
school.
so much the 1,000 beers, it was the trying to pull something.
Yeah, but then I said I was gay, and I said that I fucking this and that. And I
Well,
haven't
that's
had an
what we
apology
said.
yet.
We said he was telling the truth when he said anything.
Yeah,
I saw that. I saw that.
Right.
Yeah,
He's not
yeah.
still not discriminating or anything like that. Well, the guy can't try and.
He was just struggling to say it.
Yeah.
And it sounded like, a macho man chasing Sheilas, but he was actually chasing anything.
I wanted an apology
anything.
from the greater public because they assumed things about me that obviously weren't true.
It's a disgrace. Really.
I'm offended.
Yeah.
So I have a theory that, they say Darlinghurst, Oxford Street's like the gay capital.
Agreed.
But when you look at, let's just look at the numbers, mate. You and Ian Roberts.
I knew you were going to say that.
It's Maroubra. Maroubra is the LGBTI capital.
It's the unspoken community. That
Yeah,
really,
that God left long ago.
It did.
they deserve to be spoken about. I think they need to join the.
I reckon have Mardi
conversation.
Gras down the beach from now on. I reckon.
They should put a big rainbow up at Maroubra Sands.
Well, there's a Rubik's Cube there. It's somewhat rainbow.
Yeah? Same colours.
Extend that along.
Yeah. Get a whole boardwalk of rainbow. Me leading the march in Butler's chaps and Keno's.
Do they look after you down there? Can you hide in plain sight in Maroubra?
Yeah.
Because they've got everyone down there, don't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. Like I grew up there, so it's different for me. Like,
Yeah.
not that if I was like a Sam Burgess type of player, it might be a bit different. But me being a bit of a nut trucker myself, I think it's a bit more relaxed. And like I said, when I go down there, I see everyone that I've known just about my whole life. So it's not like it's too
It's
bad.
a cool community. I remember when we were living there and I was at South, like they just like, hey, how are you, mate? Like,
Yeah.
just cruisy. They're not
Yeah.
They're just normal people. They're just knockabouts.
Yeah, they're not-
They're a good
they're
bunch
not
of people. It's
star
a community.
fuckers.
It's a community feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Maroubra, actually, Clancy, I hear that from quite a few sources actually that you're a bit of fan of the infamous Bra Boys of old.
Well, we've
Fact or fiction?
interviewed a couple of them. I won't say which couple. I mean, you can look it up on our fucking podcast. We've interviewed a few of them. But no, I wouldn't say necessarily a fan. More I think, what we're doing now is I'm doing a TV series on Paramount Plus about history, modern Australian history, but just pre-internet. I think the Bra Boys were right there. They represented that moment in that early kind of 2000s sports, surf, entertainment. They had their moment. They had the doco, and we're trying to emulate that. That's what we're trying to do. Is people go around Sydney to the parties. People still talk about of that age group still talk about the premiere they had. You would have been too young for it. We're trying to emulate that. We'll be doing one you both are invited, by the way.
Oh,
in
beautiful.
next
First
few
I've heard
weeks.
of it. First I've heard of it.
I won't say it on the podcast because we'll get gate crashes there. But yeah, we've interviewed a few of the
1,000
boys
listeners.
because we're doing a series on different moments, and one of them is the Cronulla riots. So we actually had to talk to a couple of the Bra Boys to talk about how
Their
different
involvement.
Well, they're just the different cultures on the beaches, right? Whereas Cronulla is exactly what it looks like. You know what I mean? No offense to your fan base down there, but they are. It's like the tradies, the cashed up tradies, made their money and living the dream, and hot headed.
Yeah.
Whereas Maroubra, a bit more multicultural, a bit more houso.
Yeah.
And then your Bondi, it's just basically tourists and billionaires.
Well, no one who lives in Bondi is from Bondi anymore. No, those days are gone.
And the ones that own all the houses don't even live there. They're just holiday houses.
Yeah.
Airbnbs.
Yeah.
Just cashed up.
So do you remember when Bondi was locals?
So
Was that a bit before your time?
No, it wasn't before my time, but I never left Maroubra.
Yeah.
Mum couldn't drive, and I never ever ventured further south of Coogee.
BMX wouldn't take you there?
No. BMX took me around Lexo. Was about it. Lexo. No, I do remember actually. Speaking of the riots incident, I remember going to school. I was 8 years old. It was 2005, and I was going up Torrington Road on the school bus, and just destruction everywhere.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
the night that the big fight happened between went down Torrington Road between, I don't know if it was Lebanese community or the Cronulla community, whatever it was. And there was just glass everywhere. Like all the cars' windows were smashed, houses were gone.
Because it was a lot more than that's what we found in this doco, which is coming out soon on Paramount Plus.
Woo, what's it called?
Bit of a plug. Betoota presents.
Betoota presents.
Okay, yeah, nice.
Betoota presents Cronulla Rides.
Okay.
We're doing the Super League War too, by the way. You want to talk about making money, gentlemen?
Yeah,
Wow, interesting.
22 clubs in one fucking country. That was everyone was getting a start.
Except us, we missed out.
Yeah. No, there were a lot of. That was probably the first. That was an interesting one to cover because it kind of covered that Polynesian Pacific Revolution.
Yeah,
because
right.
that's when they started opening up to New Zealand and like they just needed the players and they hadn't really tapped those grassroots yet. And so that was a big. And then a lot of rugby converts.
Yeah.
Really? Because the money was there.
The money was there, yeah. And then rugby union was still amateur. But yeah, we're just looking at those different moments in time. It was pre-internet, but we've still got TV footage, so we can make a good doco out of it.
Yeah, gotcha.
But you need to interview contributors. So we got Richie and Rennie talking about, that particular what you're talking about with the Cronulla, with the reprisal attacks. It was a lot more than just one day of kind of redneck shit down on the beach because it was, then people start kind of wanting to defend themselves and defend their patch and they feel vilified. And it was a very weird time. And
Massively.
It was early viral. So it was just before social media, but it was just when text messages went unlimited.
Okay.
Because they used to cost,
really?
you wouldn't
You've done
remember.
the research, You've done all the time.
But they used to cost 10 cents. You wouldn't remember. You were probably liquid form back then, but it was... they used to-
just coming into play. Just getting solids.
Yeah. But you text message, you'd be careful how many you sent. But when they went unlimited, people just... That's how you had those crazy house parties and those, Corey Worthington shit. All that shit. It was unlimited text message.
What's he doing these days?
He's still doing stuff. He's still doing stuff.
He's doing great things.
Yeah, he'd be an influencer of some sort.
Yeah, he'd be right for this kind of world. Those little mad sunnies and his shit hat.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's grown up since then, unlike you, but anyway. That's good to know.
He definitely got more friends than you.
Definitely does. Well, he had a big house party. I never did that.
Yeah. You don't have enough friends to come.
True.
We're going to
A
invite
few
3
house
people.
parties in Lexo growing up.
You know what? I had one.
Yeah.
I personally had one. There was a few getting around,
How many
but
people came for?
mate, so many. It was so bad.
Really?
Yeah,
At
it was
Mum's
fucked.
house?
Yeah, Mum's house. Mum went to Fiji for a week. She doesn't know. I don't know if
Does
she's-
now.
Does
She will now.
She'll be saying the
She's our
podcast
number one
shortly.
fan.
Yeah, she is. a number
Commenting on
one
our
fan.
YouTube stuff. She's grouse.
Yeah,
Keeps me
Liam.
honest. Yeah.
Liam was touching his testicles too much in one of the podcasts, and Susan wrote a comment on YouTube about that. So good to see you've improved your game, Liam.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. I'm under the table. Just
Touching yourself.
flicking my bits, you know.
Jealous. But yeah, I had one party there, and there was like bottle caps found for weeks afterwards. And I was like, I don't know where they came from.
You got older brother.
Must be, the neighbours must be flicking them over the
Yeah,
fence.
100%. No, Josh was booted out by this time, so I had to come the full blown.
So it was all on you.
Yeah. It was
I mean, it's
on my
pretty
bed.
good if all you're finding is bottle caps.
Yeah, no, I cleaned. Well, actually, no, when I say I cleaned, I told my grandma about the party, and I was very apologetic, and she ended up cleaning the house for me because
You little brat.
Wow. That
she was solid too. She's solid too. Didn't tell anyone.
Poor Oma.
Poor Oma. Yeah.
Far out.
Love you, Oma.
So is that the German side?
That's the German side. Yeah, Mum's the German side.
Oma.
Oma.
Right. Okay. And that's Rudolf.
That's Rudolf.
Yeah, right.
Tobias Erik Rudolf.
Yeah. And then the other side's what? European German? No, European Jew.
Yeah.
We had Toby, or I didn't actually, a girl had Toby do an ancestry.com because she was very curious to find out what this is. Because as you can see, the Balinese skin.
Yeah, ambiguous.
Yeah, so
very much so.
she was pretty curious to find out, and they come up with
50% Germanic European, German, 50% European Jewish, which I don't really know what that means exactly.
Yeah, right. Maybe Lithuanian.
It was Latvia, Lithuania.
Yeah.
That's what it
does
said.
match
Well,
your
that's
spending
the,
habits, but
That's the South African Jews are all lithos.
Yeah, right.
All those ones you'd see in the east, those big houses up there.
Yeah.
They are Lithuanian Jewish. They migrated it. Yeah, mate, fuck. Maybe you're Safa.
Maybe.
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, because you had that the tone.
Yeah, and I'm like, really.
And your parents met in the east?
No, I actually am a product of a test tube baby.
Oh, right.
Yeah, mum.
Sperm donor.
Sperm donor. Mum couldn't find a partner and wanted another kid. Josh wasn't enough,
Yeah, right.
and along I came. So,
There you are.
Yeah, here I am sitting before you. What a modern miracle of science.
What a modern miracle. I mean, we've got to find the answer, mate. You might be eligible for a World Cup side. Who knows?
I could be. Apparently, it was only medical students that could donate sperm in the mid-90s. So,
Right.
Dad, if you're out there, give me some money. You're a doctor.
I really want to meet the man that made you without even knowing about it, because he would have some serious regrets about
Oh,
donation.
I feel sorry for him, to be honest. Yeah, Clancy, to get more to the Betoota side of things, did a bit of research, and I saw your first post was about a rugby bear or something like that. Your first thing was a story about a player playing for a certain team that was. Am I on the right track here at all?
Yeah.
Can you finish the story for me? Because I
going.
don't know.
Obviously did a lot of research. It must have been
research,
very
yeah.
extensive.
I mean, we are Australia's oldest newspaper, so.
I know, this is a story I had to dig up.
You guys pumping out about 3 articles on the daily, so might be
Well,
hard
we're
for you
more
to
than that.
recap.
We did 1 an hour.
1 an hour.
hour.
Wow.
That's the socials output. Yeah.
All right, let's break that down. So when it first started, it was obviously I want to know the creative process.
Yeah, why?
behind.
Why did you guys start? How? Who'd you guys get?
Well,
to?
you get. I mean, you. Most people would have discovered us when we were online, right? Social media, the boom of social media. But you'd remember that when there were all those different online publications all happening at once, and remember Facebook?
Yes.
You know, and it was all so messy and shit. And we got a start in all of that in terms of the social media transition. But yeah, we never really saw ourselves being that popular outside of Queensland. We're all Queenslanders for the most part. But I guess it's just the thing about Queensland is, and you'd know this well, is that people, whether they're from Queensland or not, really appreciate how fucking wild it is up there, and the sense of humour kind of translates across the country. Like the Queenslanders are real dry and fucking and quite offensive, but not often in like an offensive way. But they're brash, and that seemed to. We were surprised we made it as far as Melbourne in terms of popularity, and we can see that with our merch when we sell T-shirts and shit, this kind of stuff. They're all around the place. And then, of course, you got the big following in the countries with expats. So that would be England, like Aussies that have moved abroad.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Hong Kong and Bali.
Lots of exports in Hong Kong.
Yeah, a lot of people in Bali that have kind
a
of...
lot of Aussies that go over there and just perch up for an easier life.
All massive Derricks, including my brother.
Yeah.
We're going to get Josh on the podcast soon, eh?
Yeah.
he's-
Yeah, I'm going to get Josh on the podcast at some point.
Yeah.
Get him to tell the story I'll ask you a bit later on about in full, but we're still talking about Betoota right
It's gonna
now.
be hard for you again. Like we won't be able to see you in his shadow. Like you've been living.
Yeah,
your whole life.
but
You
hey,
know,
look.
bring highlight to the shadow in real time.
Done it for
on a
27
podcast.
years. I'll find a way to get
Yeah.
out there and be like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Don't
to
forget
do
about
that.
me.
But did you boys go from footy stars, like high school footy stars, into footy stars?
He did. I'm going to say you did because when I was in 20s, I heard your name, but I can guarantee you didn't hear my name because I barely made the team. So I remember like you were pretty highly touted. Sorry to steal your thunder here and say your answer. But
I not really because sort of. Maybe in under 20s and stuff. I sort of had my profile was a bit building, but not in high school. I was in too much trouble at school to be able to try out for all the teams.
Yeah.
So I was like suspended a lot, and I was never.
You're in Sydney by this point.
No, I was on the Central Coast till I signed with Manly at 15.
Right.
And then I moved to the Northern Beaches.
And they put you into school, or they just...
I was going to Chroma for
Yeah.
a little bit, then school wasn't for me. I had some serious authority issues. And,
Yeah, right. Well, that was great. Wayne Bennett would be the right guy for you.
yeah, he was really good, yeah. So not school, definitely not school, because I never could try for any team. Yeah, too much trouble.
So where were we up there? Tamora, Avalon? No, so not Avalon.
Tamora.
Avoca.
Where you going?
It's more than young, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, what are the fucking towns up there? Terrigal and Avoca. I said Tamora and Avalon.
I was in Berkeley Vale, which
Right.
is near Bateau Bay. Not, it's a bit of a different
Yeah, right.
environment.
More of a woy vibe.
Similar, yeah. Yeah, probably not like that.
We're
But
talking your
similar.
minor. We're talking your minor.
Similar, yeah, a bit far away, but similar sort of
Yeah,
vibe.
you'd go to Erin Affair.
No, we were Tuggerah,
Okay.
Westfield, just down the, whatever that road's called, about a 20-minute trip. But then, yeah, when I was playing under 20s, I sort of started building a bit of profile.
Good for a blue, the Central Coast, isn't it?
Yeah, that was sick for a blue, which I can't not fight for shit, so it wasn't good for me.
Kincumber Maccas.
Yeah. It was good environment out there.
How do you know the Central Coast so well, Clancy?
Well, you get out and about when you're
when you're a Betoota Advocate.
when you're a journo and you know, I mean, I don't know it that well. I just described it as Tamora and Avalon, but
Yeah,
Central Coast,
but I
yeah.
do know I know the big hitters, and Tugger's one of them.
Yeah.
But you know, I think the greatest story to come out of the Central Coast in the last 10 years was Usain Bolt. Moving up
that
there
was
to-
nuts, Central Mariners.
That was crazy.
What happened there?
And did he go okay?
I don't know.
No,
played.
he went so shit. I remember saying it. He scored a goal or two, but like I could have scored, like a baby could have scored those goals.
They signed him on for a big fee. It would have been a
Yeah.
massive marketing point for the club.
Yeah, it was.
eh?
Like I heard about Central Coast Mariners as a result, and I still know their name. So it
Yeah,
worked.
yeah,
That is outrageous.
Yeah. Bit of a Wrexham vibe, yeah.
To dive back into Betoota, because you keep trying to dive out of it.
No,
and
keep
ask
going.
questions. So
Yeah. I keep putting it on you.
you do.
I know
I
everything
know,
about
I'm
you.
aware. So
We got plenty of time
I'm
for
being
that.
a journo.
Yeah, we got plenty of time for that.
2014 when the paper started, at what point did you realise, was it straight away, was the first story one that had a bunch of readers, listeners, all the rest of it, or was it a slow burn after?
Yeah, it's always a slow burn in media. It's all about building a following and a format. For us in social media was a distinctly different thing to what we'd write on paper. We did books as well, and that's a different vibe in itself. We did podcasts, which sounds different to what we put online. So you got to find the format and keep it consistent. That's the main thing. I mean, I don't know if there's parallels to sport in that, but consistency is key because you're not going to develop a base or a following if it's something different
Keep
every
changing
day.
it up all the
Yeah,
time.
if you keep trying something new, or you kind of, and that was a big one for us with social media, and then from there, once you kind of see it, you can see the monumental kind of growth. It's definitely not an explosive thing. It wasn't a matter of going viral as well. That's another thing. It took 10 years since we've been on social media, so. Yeah, it's an incremental thing. And I do wonder about those people that become celebrities overnight. I reckon it'd fuck your head up.
You'd have to. Your life just like changes, bang.
Yeah.
You're this and then you're that. And then
Or,
you
and
fill,
not
fill
even
the gaps in with
not,
what comes
I mean,
with it.
it'd be more difficult if it was just you. But even if you ran a company that went big overnight, and I'm sure people do with those teeth whitening or those, shout out Pilot. These guys looking for a sponsor.
Shout out teeth whitening anyway. I don't know who else.
High smile. But a lot of those companies that do well on social media overnight, I wouldn't know what to do. You wouldn't know how to run it. You wouldn't know
How to decide,
your website
keep up
would
with
melt.
demand.
Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like you've got to prepare for that kind of traction. And we there were a couple moments where we did go viral, not intentionally. And I remember the website server we had couldn't handle it, just melted.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just fucked
Gone.
it. Like,
That's a
go
positive
find a
sign.
new. Yeah, it was a good. Yeah, it was a warm hug.
Yeah.
But
In the extensive research that we did on you and your group, we did find like a lot of stories have sort of been perceived as real stories and have caused a bit of a, not uproar, but public maybe went viral a little bit and people thought they were real and they were a bit maybe stressed out or worried about it.
well,
What
what
comes
you're
along with
saying
that?
is that we're fake news. That's what you're accusing me of. We like to think everything we write is true and real, but yeah, we do face backlash. Certainly,
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking shit. That's just, like that's what usually should happen if you talk shit. And we've been met with backlash over the years. John Eales,
I just heard this today.
yeah, John Eales.
Try and sue?
Yeah, no, he didn't. He just sent us a message, and we actually broke bread. But it was the height of the World Cup, and Australia had been limping in, and everyone always talks shit about the Wallabies. And I noticed a lot of people, anyone who could, and you could have been one of these, Toby, because you've got that vague other ancestry. You could have said, you know what, I'm a Kiwi, I'm going for the All Blacks.
Yeah.
And we were doing that, and we said, and then it was around the time of ISIS, and we said, if you're doing that, you're worse than ISIS.
Yeah.
John Eales agrees. And he goes, no, I do not. And then he refuted those claims.
Oh, he did refute.
Yeah, he refuted
okay,
those claims. But
It seems like a very John Eales thing to still like his vibe.
yeah.
That's just all like that.
He doesn't talk shit. That's one thing he doesn't do.
Have you never heard that name before?
John
No
Eales?
way.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
He was,
We're
he's like-
two different worlds.
Yeah. He's
You're living in two different worlds, you and John Eales. He was the captain of the Wallabies.
99. Was it the last World Cup?
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
Won heaps of
really?
World Cups.
Big, tall second rower.
Never had the. Never was there an inkling that he'd code switch though. That's probably why.
Yeah.
he's definitely not a Matty Rogers or Wendell.
No. He's a union through and through.
Yeah.
Did he kick the winning goal as well? Was that for?
Yeah, it was a
Bledisloe?
Bledisloe or something. Yeah.
They never really switched to us though. It's always the other way around. Like the league
You
goes to
never-
union.
yeah.
I've never been like an out and out union player really.
Yeah.
It's made it in union first. Maybe like the
It used
junior
to be years
union.
ago. It used to be years ago.
Like the junior union players
Well,
like Sawali, they go
yeah.
and they come play league and they go back, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But never one's like killing it in union and then come play league. It's always league, go to union.
Yeah,
kill it over
yeah,
there.
and I think that comes from, I guess that comes from the two different games, right? But like, union doesn't have the grassroots that
Nah.
league does. So if you're a young kid, you're going to get found for league as opposed to union. You know,
Got
you
more
have to, your
money.
family has to be into union or your school has to be into union. That's it for the most part.
Yeah, you gotta be
You
able-
played union at school. You would have played union at school, right?
Yeah, heaps.
Did you ever look at that, or that was never an option?
Yeah, massively. Like,
Yeah.
the only reason I changed, so this is the debate about league versus union. So when I was 19, the year after I left school, I was playing with the Waratah in the 20s. I almost needed surgery on my ankle playing the game for them.
Yeah.
And they told me that I had to sort my own physio. I paid for my own physio because there was no money in the budget for me. I then was working at the Coogee Bay. I've never heard of it, but apparently it's a good place.
Yeah,
I
goes
was
well.
working there
Yeah.
at the time, and I saw this league coach who was my 20s coach, my school teacher back in the day. He was a 20s coach at South. He goes, come across, we'll take care of your ankle for you. And that's the only reason I
That was
changed.
it?
That was it.
We'll take care of your ankle for you.
Take care of your ankle for you.
Health
All right,
care.
I'll play
Yeah.
for you.
You were easy to turn. Yeah. I have heard that because
I mean-
obviously there's no money in grassroots, so they don't get paid.
Yeah.
Peanuts, and you can get a couple grand playing 20s,
Yeah.
5, 10, whatever it is, and then there's a bit of pathway earnings. And
So I guess at that
better
level,
system.
union is crossing over at that age group. Like, because you look at the Crichtons and the Murrays and they were all once hot prospects for the Wallabies. But I don't know, maybe we got a fucking Maroubra boy running the Wallabies now, so there might be a bit. Where is he, Matto?
Who's the?
Eddie Jones. He's
Is
back.
he
He's
Matto?
back running the Wallabies.
I
Yeah,
knew that. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was a.
he played. I think he played Lapa
No,
as a young fella.
Panther.
Yeah, yeah.
Jeez, I didn't know that.
But he's always like, you know, that the Wallabies only do well when they can look at it as a fucking non-binary kind of construct. It's like, yeah, league, fucking bring them in if we can pay them. Like, but if you're going to have the attitude that it's just us versus them, both codes will fucking,
no, exactly
you know.
right.
I mean, league doesn't have to worry nowadays because they definitely have the fucking grassroots in Western Sydney. Like,
Yeah. But what's the answer for union?
I think they have to look
Invest.
outside the box.
They've got to
Yeah.
invest a lot of money in the
Yeah.
grassroots.
Do they start? Is the answer at all? You know, allowing like they do in the northern teams, being able to play in France, play in Japan, and then
Yeah.
still play for the Wallabies.
Yeah, I know.
And you have,
that's
you have a strong national team that might, in
Yeah, like
turn,
the
drive
Australian soccer
grassroots.
model, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone comes back from the EPL for the
Yes.
Socceroos in
Yes.
2006. That could be the answer.
Because they did try and stamp that out.
The
with
Giddo
it.
law.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right.
The
You don't
Giddo
play in our
law.
comp, you can't play for us. It's,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's a bit of like.
Yeah, because remember 2006. Again, probably before your time, boys. But 2006.
How old do you think we are?
Oh,
Whatever you don't want, mate, just break.
how old do you think we are?
This is bullshit.
This is horseshit.
Fuck you and your microphone.
Everyone relax, we're all good.
Too young to remember the fucking
Oh, I
Socceroos.
do remember that. I was 2006. We were 10 years old. He
I was
was
11, mate. Far out.
Yeah, well,
They but yeah, they were. They were all the boys that were lighting up the EPL, and they all came home. All those Bosniches and Zelic and
was that
Harry
when they
Kewell.
versus Italy in like the
Yeah,
quarterfinals?
and we
don't
kind
remember
of we
Is
just
that the penalty? That they,
we told ourselves we were going all the way.
Yeah,
Like, we were like,
yeah,
it's
convinced.
coming home to Australia.
The It's Coming Home chant that lives in England at the moment. It's so good. It's coming home. They sing it all the time. Then it's just not coming home.
They sing it for like the Euros. They sing it for the World Cup. Then they
It's
start singing it
coming
for like.
home.
Isn't it?
It's
I
just
thought it was
not-
a
I just
Liverpool
don't
chant.
think it's coming home, eh?
It was waiting for a while now.
Especially when it's going to Argentina. It's not coming to England anytime soon. If you look at the. Fuck, that was a good World Cup.
It was a good World Cup.
That fucking.
There's some upsetting results. So it was a bit this and that. I don't know what's going on here, by the way. But anyway,
Yeah, it's all right.
I'll leave it there.
It's sitting still now. We'll be all
Take that out
right.
of your cart.
Should be. Yeah. I want to ask you about your creative process
Yeah.
at Betoota, because in my mind, what I picture is just a Wolf of Wall Street vibe, just things getting around everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, like a whole bunch of women getting around, all that,
Yeah.
naked ladies
Someone's on a
everywhere.
unicycle.
Yeah.
Cocktails at lunch,
Yeah,
throwing shit at each other.
monkeys playing,
I've got a
juggling.
better story
Yeah.
than you.
Oh, Scott Morrison, something funny, insert here. Yeah.
$300, Scott Morrison, please.
Yeah.
Basically that. It's a peanut gallery, of course. But
What the fuck is that?
it's just it's like
ask.
monkeys, just fucking.
Okay.
Yeah, we're
We're too young.
it's
Yeah,
these things, yeah.
That's the
you,
ageism.
so much to learn.
Yeah, I know. Please
But
keep
yeah,
us close.
Just
Be wise.
playing up. Yeah, it is. It's. I mean, you just treat it like any old thing. I don't know. I don't think there's any sense. I think it is a matter of being able to sit down and get into it, which I don't think a lot of jobs are like that. You can't really. Like, I don't know if there's blokes who have trades who just get on site and they're doing the biggest job of the day. They'll kind of potter around and there's no big or small for us. It's just kind of consistent. So we just keep going along. That's how we get the output we do, which is like 1 an hour. You guys would have to warm up, before fucking.
Yep.
Before even training, you got to warm up. We just kind of. It's actually pretty chill. It's just like getting what's in the news, and how would people in Queensland perceive this news story? How would people in Betoota perceive this news story? And then we begin publishing.
Is that one every hour for 24 hours a day?
No. It's
9 to 5 gig?
Yeah. No, we take night off.
Okay. Just on that, why Betoota? What's Betoota?
Betoota is a
town
in Western Queensland, mate.
You're not
it's
from there,
the epicenter of, I guess
the economy.
The economy, it's news, media. It's out near Birdsville. They're all pretty wild old towns.
Yeah.
It's actually not too different to Alice.
Really?
Yeah.
Buzzing.
Like
Probably not at the moment.
just wild.
Not at the moment. There's a bit going on Alice at the moment.
Alice is in the news a lot. Yeah. It goes through highs and lows, poor old Alice. They do.
Does have cycles.
Betootaa's the same, mate.
Yeah. tough going out Betoota.
Yeah. Well, you guys, actually, your hometown's been out of the news for about 10 years. Maroubra used to cop it.
We did. Yeah, we did there. We tried to be a part of the eastern suburbs and we just never really got there.
Tell you what, how the property prices have caught up.
Well, the property prices catching up really stamped out.
Yeah. Other side.
Left of
the riffraff.
Yeah.
What's that road that runs like so Lexo's here and that's the other side?
Lexo's still there, right?
Lexo's still there.
So
So
property
there's
prices
still,
like south of Lexo has been really rising.
and
other
Lexo
ones-
stayed the same. Well, the government's land houses there, they're going up massively, but obviously we can't buy those. It's government houses. But it's still a massive housing cushion area in Maroubra, but a lot of it's been sold off.
Right.
And even just the general feel of it, like back in the day when it was
You were in the houses?
yeah,
as
still
kids,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're still there?
Mum still lives there now.
Yeah, right.
Didn't she just move?
No, she's still there. But what was I trying to go with this? So back in the day when I was growing up, there was obviously where I grew up was very poor and everything, but the greater of Maroubra was too.
Yeah.
So you go to the beach, you see your friends, you'd see the kids from school there. But now with the property prices going up so high, and it's sort of gentrification has pretty much happened.
Sure.
Rich and moved in, poor and built it out. You might not. You're almost at two different sides of the community now.
Yeah.
You've got the poor in the housing commission and the rich over here, whereas before it was all one sort of
Tale of
umbrella.
two cities, mate.
Yeah, exactly right.
So tell me, what's the migration pattern then? Because I remember hearing from some old heads from Bondi when we did a stage show with Betoota where we went around the country and did a live show, and showed everyone our process. And the roadie that we were working with was an old Bondi head, and he said when all the boys got priced out of Bondi, they went to Balmain, which I thought was a funny one, and then eventually would have had to leave there because that followed shortly after.
Yeah.
Where did most of the Maroubra crowd end up? Do you reckon they go straight out west?
Little Bay?
Little Bay would be one place. Little Bay, La Perouse, East Lakes at the moment. Currently, East Lakes mascot.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys are going out there recently. And then other than that, the South Coast.
Right.
These boys went down to the South Coast or mid-North Coast.
Or Bali even, yeah.
Well, yeah, Bali as well,
yeah.
Legally or otherwise.
Smuggled out in a cargo.
Yeah.
The cargo port,
Bali.
yeah. Got some connection at Botany.
That would make sense. Escape. South Coast kind of feels like...
Yeah. Well, it was moved back in the day before there was 1,000 million people there.
Yeah.
But, it's an interesting stretch of beach, that place. It's a lot of history.
Feels like a Queensland beach to me. It's so long.
It is.
So long and sprays you.
Yeah.
Like you're on the Goldie or something.
It's a beautiful place.
You wouldn't have done much swimming in Redcliffe,
I did 2-3 times.
Off the
maybe.
jetty.
Yeah. And then immediately acid shower afterwards to get the water off me.
Yeah.
You've been there before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Mozzies and mangroves.
Yeah.
And,
It's quiet. It's a very quiet place.
Yeah, it's very...
Not a lot going on in Redcliffe, is
The
there?
way I describe it is, geographically, it's the Manly of Sydney, but
Yeah.
it's just nowhere near as nice.
Yeah, there's no waves.
Yeah.
Geographically, that's bang on, right?
Yeah.
But it's just a bit out.
And also brown water. The water's not blue there.
Yeah,
like
because you've got all those
ocean.
islands. You've got the Stradbroke and Morton
Yeah.
blocking the surf.
It's not far away from going to those, like, those like destination locations kind of thing, hey?
I reckon
You're the centre there.
It'll end up looking like a Brighton Les Sands.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because there's just no waves.
Demographically too?
Yeah, probably.
Some souped up supers going through there.
Yeah, some jet skis.
But back to you, Clancy. You've trying to push away from the questions on you and ask us as many questions. So you're a journalist, obviously, which is probably the enemy in our industry.
Yeah, for sure. Kenji.
Kenji, we'll touch on that guy, the rugby league's biggest hypocrite. What happened to you? Like, you obviously were on the journalism trade, you're on a certain path, as you all are, and now you're a good bloke writing funny stories instead of making up fake stories about someone stubbed their toe in a pub, and apparently it's the worst thing since Adolf Hitler was getting around, whatever. So
I'm sensing a lot of resentment towards the media from you two.
Well, from us too.
So there's not blanket approach, right? Like, obviously there are good people like in every industry, but I just feel it's obviously exacerbated. And
who? I mean, you don't need to say, because the problem is they're vindictive. You're right.
Yeah.
And if you say their name here, they'll come for you even harder.
Well, one of them doesn't have a job at the moment, so
well,
we'll see how he goes.
We all know who we're talking
I'm not who you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember his name or anything, but he doesn't have a job. We'll see.
Yeah.
But like, so what happened to you? So, you're on that path.
To pivot out of being an ambulance chaser.
Yeah, now you're a good bloke and writing good
bloke.
Stories. I'm not sure if you might have been a good bloke the whole way, but
I doubt it.
Yeah,
I doubt it.
We do that. You chose
it keeps
journalism.
an unsavoury company.
Yeah,
he knows about that. It keeps some unsavoury company. Maybe that's what keeps you grounded.
Yeah.
Making
100%.
sure you still got a word to the street. Make sure the hood still loves you. You know what I mean?
That's important. That's really important.
Give your ear to the street.
Yeah.
But that's, you guys got to. I'm pivoting back onto you fellas, but
love it.
You guys got to make
sure
you
you
don't lose track of who you are, because eventually. You're going to get named, the tall poppy thing. You'll end up being called big shots. Oh yeah, I saw him up there. He's a big shot, isn't he? It's like, man, I was in Ireland. I was in Conor McGregor's suburb where everyone sounds like Conor.
Yeah.
And I asked a cab driver what he thought of Conor. He goes, "Oh, he's going to be big for his boots." I was like, "Man, you're the same as Australians, the Irish." I was like, "This is the biggest shit to come out of here." Like, we're talking about a neighborhood of fucking 5,000 people, and they're like, Conor. I was like,
put him on the map.
Yeah. But I guess the only way to combat that is to be around. You got to make sure you go and wave and say good day to everyone.
So you still get down to Betoota and say
man, go down to the top pub. Don't worry about that. Middle pub, bottom pub.
Handing out merch and giving away
we give away Christmas hams at Christmas for all the families.
Wow, many of the people.
American gangster style, like
just to keep you making sure they're all on your side.
Yeah.
Once the Betoota people turn, I'm guessing they don't turn back.
No, you don't. Yeah, Queenslanders never forget, and that's what you guys need to remember in your quest for representative football is that we never forget, and that entire 8 in a row was in response. And I know you're listening to this, Fletch. That fucking hand grenade thing you did with the football, we still haven't forgotten that, and the dynasty will continue. Actually, there's none in the current side. There's none in the current side that played from the 8 in a row. No, that's a new.
Unless it was Kafusi, was it? But he's not in there anymore. No, he get picked. I remember watching that game as a kid, and remember when I was 2006, you guys started winning. I'm pretty sure. Before that, I remember being like, New South Wales is never going to lose. This is how good watching footy. This
how
is
wrong
amazing.
you were, son.
Yeah.
And then it'll just never happen again. The whole dynasty.
Yeah.
I wonder what it is. I wonder what the difference is. Because do you think it is that whole spirit thing? Do you reckon that is?
Mate, Queensland spirit, honestly, it hurts to hear that shit.
It does. But you know what? It hurts because it's almost starting to fucking be true. Like I'm not even J'ing up. It's starting to do my head in because you fucking win games, you fucking shouldn't.
Yeah, and we brag about it.
We brag about it. And like, what Joey Johns, you saw his reaction after
he
couple
spat
years
the dummy.
That's how I feel all the time watching Origin. It's fucked.
But if you look at the team they had, like that's a generational mishap. Like the people they had for that core years, the back line, the people they'd be like immortals back in when it was going to happen. Just to happen in that era, that generation, they had those people together for so long.
Yeah.
It would never happen again. That kind of people.
I thought you guys were having a sniff of it.
Yes, 20. That's who you guys won.
And then we beat that team that was named the worst Queensland team. We had to stoke the fire.
Yeah.
Wayne Bennett come back and just got the boys together.
He came back for 1 year. Yeah, that was.
And then
glorious.
just fucking dropped the mic and walked out.
That was the year that Origin went back to back to back. That
2020.
was
COVID years.
Yeah.
If we won that one, we would have had a roll on, won a couple in a row. Like, how did we lose that series? Like, we had the much better team.
You should've been
Maybe it was
playing
the Queensland spirit. We don't know. Suck it.
Well, I just think it's like they don't play politics. Queensland selectors, you know what I mean? Like,
Nah, but wait,
you know,
I'm gonna
not
stop you there because
yeah.
like, they used to do the whole pick and stick.
Yeah.
And now they've just abandoned that completely.
Yeah.
And I wonder, you know, so you're a Queensland, obviously passionate. What do you think about that? Pick and stick
Well, I
was
reckon. I mean, Kalen's not match fit at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Reece Walsh is looking flashing. I think
killing it.
that makes sense.
He's killing it.
I think Kafusi's an interesting one, but it's not even his call, wasn't it?
He's going to get suspended,
Yeah, he's
isn't
suspended.
Oh, I didn't know.
He's going to come 3 or 4
So, yeah.
matches.
Gagai's the one, but I'm also like, when does the music stop? Like, Gagai could play Origin until he's 50. I know that.
Yeah.
But I think they're just they're just trying something different. I actually think in terms of the politics, like someone like Gordon Tallis probably wouldn't have been selected in a New South Wales side. He would have been too brash for the sensibilities of.
Well, I remember saying
Freddie.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been.
Oh, if not Freddie.
Spiritual.
Freddie's changed it, but back then, back in those days, the Laurie Daly eras. I don't know.
I think the Queensland team on form, that every single player is in form. I know there's a pick and stick in loyalty, politics, whatever it is, but that team looks like they're all in form.
Yeah, but that's and you didn't answer my question one bit, which I appreciate. But they used to pick and stick. Now they're not. What's going on here? We all good?
No, we're all good. I just want to see this sign's come up behind you. I just want to see how I fix that.
Okay, sweeter.
We'll just take a short break while there's some technical difficulties.
For those listening live,
He's trying to avoid the question, and they're putting
He's
out
left the room.
He's putting out props. He's gone. He has not handled that questioning.
A few moments later.
I didn't answer your question.
You didn't answer my question at all. No one bit. Is Queensland going down the wrong path with their new style of picking on form?
Is the Queensland spirit withering away?
Yeah.
I know, but is this like a Paul Kent fucking Buzz Rothfield narrative you're running now that?
Never.
This is the question I'm asking. I'm not going to answer to.
Well, I'm just thinking. This is the only example you have of that in 20 years picking on form.
Yeah,
and I feel like we've got
present.
enough reasons. Like, it's like, Kalen's not match fit. Kafusi's been suspended.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Gags has been one of your best performers over
Yeah,
10
Gagai has been, but I mean, who's been selected over him?
Valentine Holmes.
And who's
I mean,
the other one?
you can't say Valentine hasn't been in the mix.
No.
Who's the other one that's been left out? There's 4 left out. It was Kalen, Felice.
Well, Christian Welch didn't get picked.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought he's in.
No,
Is
he's
that
18th man. That's a big one.
Oh,
So that's one. He's like almost. Was he captain last year? Vice captain or something?
Yeah, up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, Queensland Spirit's withering away. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, you guys are all.
Anyway, the dynasty's over and you guys suck. So.
But the New South Wales team, as a Queensland supporter, what do you think of the New South Wales team?
I reckon it's pretty flash.
Some pretty
But
notable
I reckon-
omissions.
I reckon you guys have been plagued by more politics. This Luai, Nico kind of. Everyone always focuses on. Maybe you guys need to pick and stick. I don't know, man. I just think you guys need that New South Wales spirit.
We've been searching for it for about 40 years now.
Maybe we'll just rat off your little rat spirit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I wanted to ask.
Get you boys in there. Come on.
Yeah, well, I'm injured and he just got back from rehab, so we're doing our best.
I'm doing my best, mate.
Yeah.
So how long on the injury?
I've got 4 weeks. Oh, they reckon 4 weeks. They're trying to rush me back.
What do you reckon if we run like this campaign on Betoota just to get you elected for Origin, just for the fuck of it, like just to try something new?
Oi, that shit happens, eh? Honestly, a bit of media speculation on certain players, and
Yeah.
they run with it, and they run with it. I reckon that happened. No, I'm not going to say his name. I don't want to spray him, but there's been a couple of years there where I reckon. Well, player wasn't going that great, but somehow the media grabbed him and they just threw him to the top of the headlines, and he got picked, and it was like, and then he ended up going really well.
Yeah.
But it all started from a bit of media circus, and he ended up getting picked.
Maybe just put a bit of that Queensland spirit in me, and then I'll be
Injected it.
Well, that's something you should have done when you were up in Redcliffe,
I actually could have played for the Queensland residents team, but they chose not to pick me. So
That would have been something that plagued you though. Like if you go and play rep footy, and you've got that Queensland, it would have been like
it would have been weird.
GI Thurston,
Yeah,
fucking Sterlo was from Toowoomba. Like
Yeah.
that selection criteria shit is. I mean, it's just the soap opera of Origin, right?
Oh,
Where we
it's a mess.
there's non-stop whinging, non-stop drama. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's why we love it.
It makes your job easier too, yeah?
It is. It is. It's a great. It's a little layup for us.
I wanted to ask. I can't remember if I asked this or not, but was there a point where throughout Betoota's journey that was there one story or was there one article, was there one thing where you're like, oh well, we could be onto something here?
No, like I said, it wasn't so much the virality. It was more just the gradual build. Like it was more. We're like, well, they're not. It's not going. The numbers aren't going the other way.
Yeah,
you know, they're slowly going that way, but they're not going the other way. Which is, you know, that's it's just like you just get that next sniff of, you know, what could be, and then eventually and then seriously, we kind of got to 1 million followers, and you're like, that felt like something we were fucking working towards. You know what I mean?
I bet.
It's not necessarily one thing overnight. There was one article that went big, but it wouldn't have grown our numbers because when you go viral, you tend to just go to people who don't know who the fuck you are. And it was after all the shootings in America. There'd been heaps of school shootings, and we did one about how
I remember
you know how how much control they have over us. Like the government controls us so much with these control and gun control laws, and we had such a controlling day, and we just had this photo of Bondi, and it was everyone swimming and shit. And it was just like,
was it Australia's got another day?
Yeah, another day of peaceful. Another day of peace under these controlling gun laws, and just the all the rednecks were flighting us up.
That would have hated
you Aussie chess beaters, you don't get it, man. And then
their arms.
You're like that's. And
we need more guns.
That's like arguing. That's like arguing that the sun's
They've got to be some
cold.
Of the
You know what I mean? They can't.
Some of the stupidest people. Hey, we
But
need
you
more
can't,
guns.
but
to
you can't. That's one
counteract.
thing you can't argue. And I think the closest thing that we ever had was with the lockout laws in Sydney, when they were like, king hits are out of control. And maybe you look at it on paper like a bunch of guys are getting bombed and a lot of guys are dying. But to us, we were like, but it's not. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's never happened to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about it. And I guess that's how they are with their guns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, keep the fucking cross open, you know? But
Open it back up.
I think they are.
It's
I think
on,
it's,
yeah.
But it's not
all
going to be
like
the same.
it's a bit of traction.
Yeah, something's happening.
Where do you guys go out as, rock star celebrities?
Well, stop that. Rockstar celebrities. Like, right now. Okay.
You know what? In Brisbane,
Put
it's a bit like that. In Sydney, we're at the bottom of the trash heap. Like, really, because you got the influencers, you got like the actors, you got this, music stars, and then
Then the real
us.
rock stars.
Then you got the Swannies, then
Then cricket, and then soccer, and then we're right here.
Did you get that? I suppose you'd see it in Brisbane. They would. Actually, fuck, I've seen the Broncos out. I saw them out December, like last year.
In Brisbane?
And they were running a fuck down on Howard Smith Wharves. Like,
but the Broncos are the Broncos. Like they're one team in one town, one city. And then there's 9 of us here. It sort of dilutes the pool a bit.
Yeah.
So it's not. But to answer your question, I'm not going to run away from questions like you have been this entire interview.
Hey, I've given you enough.
Yeah, bro. Going the old run around on me. Beach Road, I love Beach Road.
Beach Road?
Best pub in Australia, I'm going to say. You've been around Australia. What are your thoughts on that?
The Beach Road's a good pub. It's
Goes well, eh?
That's the one in Bondi. Oh,
Yes.
yeah. That's great fun.
Big
Enough to fill it up.
Yeah.
Different vibes through upstairs, downstairs.
You can go upstairs and you can go ham. You can go downstairs and talk to some people. You can go to the poker rooms and cruise. You can go do this, do that. Just so much opportunity. So much room for fun.
Do you live in Cronulla now?
No, I'm moving in 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah, I lived in the eastern suburbs the entire time I've been playing there, but now I'm making the
And
move.
so that's a pretty big drive.
25.
Oh yeah. Oh, because you're off peak.
Yeah, I'm going the other way. But I'm
Yeah.
also living in Hillsdale. And when I was living with Liam in Randwick before Maroubra, it was like 40.
Really?
And they would do heads in a bit. But then, I moved sort of further south as we've gone along.
Right.
Went to Maroubra, then Matchville, now Hillsdale. So now I'm just straight on the foreshore.
Yeah,
I'm
right,
straight
right.
there. But I'm moving there soon to get amongst the people
Yeah.
that have given me so much.
How's that South Sydney thing go? Like, because South Sydney fans are like tattooed fans. Like, I mean, you would have grown up in it. How do they? Is it like they're meeting someone like some sort of god, like a deity figure when you meet like those proper South? 3 items of their clothing are South Sydney related, and they're just going to shops.
And they got the stickers on the cars.
Yeah.
And then they got photos of the shrines and the houses.
yeah.
Mate, we have some die-hard, live and die South Sydney. Like, they're best. They're actually best. What was the question? I just
Like, well, what's it like around them? Does it get a little bit intense where you kind of like, well, I have to go now, so
yeah, you don't meet a lot of them like
Yeah.
out in the street, and if
Yeah.
you do, they're like they demand a bit of your time and
Yeah.
your personal space.
or
But
they yell at you.
yeah, it just depends how
It's
you go.
better coming out of a car, you reckon?
Yeah, coming out.
We
of the
love
car.
you, Nutty.
Yeah, running past screaming, they're good. But at the games, and the Burrow, they're just, you walk past the Burrow, you give them, the hands up, and they're just, give them the game. They're just, everyone's on the same
Oh,
page.
bless them.
Yeah, we got some good ones.
I was on the Leverley Street the night they won the premiership. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Up on the Redfern Street, just by chance, it was in town for the grand final. So
That was 2014. That was when
2014.
you started the paper, wasn't it?
yeah, it was around that time. That was the time we went online.
Yeah, okay.
And
They're nuts, man.
I saw
They'll take your legs off.
they were serious.
They'll take your legs off, their limbs off if you're in the wrong area, wrong time.
Yeah.
We used to get my first year we made the finals, and we were getting like thousands to our training sessions at Redfern in the finals. Thousands of people. Like that's when I was like, what's going on? Like, where am I right now?
Yeah.
Like, I just wasn't ready for the fans.
Yeah.
Like, didn't understand this was a real thing.
Very serious fans.
Very,
Like,
very serious.
This is the same for Betoota fans.
But the Betoota Dolphins have kind of been overshadowed quite heavily. We've got the rugby club here. We've got the Muttaburrasauruses up the mutts. But yeah, we. I know what you mean. Occasionally, you'll find a town in Australia. I mean, Redcliffe was an example of this until they got bumped up. But occasionally, you'll find a town that's like that with their footy team. Gundagai Tigers, everyone talks about.
I've been a Gundagai.
Yeah,
great town.
That's where old Cliffy Lyon's from. There's a few teams you hear about over the years that just the Wyong Roos. Like you hear about that's what it means to that town. And I think the Rabbitohs are the NRL equivalent.
I
They're
agree.
just like they live and breathe it.
Yeah, well, again, going back to you now, I heard there was a story about veterinarians being present at dog fights that really got some backlash.
Yeah.
Can we delve into that at all?
Yeah, well, we just kind of said that we just dropped the stats that 1 in 3 Queenslanders had been present at a dog fight at some point in their life.
Yeah.
Which, obviously dog fighting, Michael Vick, quite taboo in civilised society. But
Of course.
But not in, obviously, Atlanta, where the players play, and not in Queensland. So, yeah, we did a story on that. And we were talking about, like pill testing with festivals, where it's like, well, we should have pill testing kits to minimise the risk. People are going to do the pills anyway. We should minimise the risk by having pill testing. We were saying the same thing with dog fighting. We should have vets present to minimise the risk because Queenslanders are still going to do dog fighting.
Yeah.
And then,
Is that a big market out there for that?
well, we got in a bit of trouble with that with the RSPCA and.
Because you said they were there, they were present.
Well,
there.
we included them in the story, and they said, "Please remove us from that."
It doesn't quite.
yeah,
doesn't quite gel with their brand.
That's the game we're in. Yeah, so we are about rescuing animals. We're not about mitigating risk in dog fights by providing vets.
Maybe that's a market that can. They're still helping. They are still helping.
They're still helping. But,
So your stance is no vets at dog fights. That's your new stance.
well, we just gave up on it, mate. We were trying to make a bit of difference, trying to change the world, you know. But
So now dog
eventually-
fighting are by themselves. And you
Yeah,
guys have
dog
separated
fighting can go
yourself.
completely unregulated. I'm sure
you don't
you.
wanna-
Back to the way it should be.
Yeah, back to into the in the warehouses,
grassroots.
and the car parks of
Now there was this question that I sort of ask every guest that we get on. Our podcast is called Stuck in the Middle. Might not have mentioned it so far,
Yeah.
but
It's there for you if you haven't.
oh yeah,
if you
right.
haven't
It.
yet.
You're stuck in the middle.
Yeah, with
Right.
Toby Rudolf, Liam Knight. Yeah, yeah.
That's me. That's him.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
anyway.
in case you were. Just now
case
that you're
I knew.
across it.
So, was there a point any time in life where you felt like you were stuck? You felt there was no way out. You felt that you were stuck between a rock and a hard place. And how did you get out of that place?
Yeah, you know what? One example I would give is I had a fear of flying.
Okay.
Stuck every single time. It's like any kind of mental kind of ailment. You've got to find your way out, and fear is one of them. Fear of flying, and then what I did was I mean, you guys would do it so much. I don't know how I'd be as an athlete if I had a fear of flying. And you start looking at the stats. You start weighing up realistically what is more likely. What is?
Car crash,
Am I
car
overdoing
crash.
this?
Yeah.
And I realised that not one aeroplane ever has ever crashed because of turbulence.
Wow.
which is the exact opposite of what you're thinking during turbulence. You know what I mean?
Especially 100%.
Which I guess is a metaphor for a whole range of being stuck. You know, it's like you think this is all you think is happening right now.
Yeah.
This is all you think. This turbulence, the wing's going to come off.
Especially on those
Planes
little,
will snap in half.
especially on those little planes, those regional planes. Far out.
Yeah. But that's all it is, mate. It's just turbulence. It's just a bumpy road. So you just got to white knuckle it through. I don't know. I think it's a good question to finish on.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about the kidnapping in Paris story.
Oh, well, I was stuck in the middle there, certainly, between UFC fighters and deranged brothers, controversial embattled NRL stars.
Oh, look, I think we'll save the entire story for another podcast.
Yeah.
Sort of press the time here, but we do want to thank
Maybe you should
Clancy.
get that guy on sometime.
I think we should get that guy on with you. I
Yeah,
think that'd be a great time.
That'd be a nice little
We could
foursome.
have the whole podcast episode about you being kidnapped in Paris. I think that'd be unreal.
Yeah.
There'd be plenty of material.
I'll do it justice.
Okay, good stuff. Clancy, thank you very much for coming on Stuck in the Middle.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Thank you
It's been
very
an
much.
absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
To anyone out there, please like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe us. We
Pilot,
like
they want a
you.
sponsorship.
Pilot sponsor us. And
Anyone
we,
else want to sponsor us? We're out there. We're ready for you.
Yep.
we love you. Bye.
Better beer.
Better beer.
Beauty. That's a ripper, boys.
This podcast was made by Afternoon Sport Group.